Thank you very much, Bob. Many of you know that there has been a video competition associated with this meeting, and our next speaker will introduce the winners of this competition. Daniel Bissonette holds a degree in economics and has spent most of his career at the crossroads of economic and cultural development. His experience has been acquired in private, public, and not-profit sectors, where he implemented and managed structuring projects enabling industries to be more competitive. After holding several managing positions for the city of Montreal, he was appointed in 2011 as the Associate Director, Cinema Festivals Events for the city, where he runs the Montreal Film and Television Commission, the Festivals Office, and the Special Events Department. He's also responsible for the development of creative and cultural industries. Monsieur Bissonette has another job. He, for 15 years, has been a caregiver to someone affected by Parkinson's disease, Monsieur Bissonette.
Okay. Is that okay? Bonsoir tout le monde et bienvenue à Montréal. Hello everyone and welcome to Montreal. Well, this is a larger audience than what I usually handle, but luckily I can't really see you. Now, on behalf of the City of Montreal, I'm very pleased to welcome you all to Montreal. I'm sure that you will like your stay in our city and that this event will deliver what you expect from it. I understand that this Congress takes place every 3 or 4 years. It is certainly a great honor for Montreal to have been selected to host it. We sincerely thank the organizers. Now, for those of you who were in Glasgow 3 years ago or saw a Gavin Hastings speech on YouTube, you can immediately see that I never played rugby and that this was a life-saving decision for me. Nevertheless, I managed to play hockey, ice hockey that is, until the age of 58. And now that I am 63, I have decided to concentrate on golf. It is a bit less physically demanding, but it has the power to help you become mentally stronger if you really work at it. And to be mentally strong is an important asset if you are going to spend several years of your life caring for somebody who has a very serious illness. When Dr. Michel Panisset asked me if I would accept to deliver a short presentation on the role and the importance of being a caregiver, I have to admit I felt honored, since it meant that he thought I could make a good speech and that the organizers of this Congress believe that the role of the caregiver is of paramount importance when talking about long-lasting neurological diseases. Also, Dr. Panisset, being a wise guy, he immediately said that by using me, the same person could deliver the speech and also welcome you all on behalf of the City of Montreal. Now, this is what I call a man of vision. And as a matter of fact, I will also have another role right after my speech, as has been mentioned to you earlier. So I think I'm really a bargain in the end. So, here's the story. Some 14 years ago, 1999, my wife and I met on what we call a blind date. We had found each other through the internet. What is a bit unusual about the beginning of our relationship is that the very first night that we met, she told me that she had been diagnosed with Parkinson's disease 2 months prior at the age of 49. I found that very sad, but I also found her very honest. And we quickly decided to see each other regularly. It was clear very early on that we were really happy together and that love would become a large part of the equation. Thank you. We knew from that moment that she had to fight a very strong enemy and that I would have to do my best to help her. I asked my sister, who is a doctor, what Parkinson's disease was. I thought it would only strike old people, of course. She explained to me the basic facts, and answering one of my questions, she told me that in her opinion, the first year after being diagnosed is very important because it is during that first year that we can see if the patient has the strength and the ability to successfully slow the progression of the disease. If at the end of that first year there is no significant change in the person's physical condition, it probably means that the later stage of the illness can be pushed away for some years or for several years. Of course, when you live day in and day out with somebody, you can spot every minor change in that person's ability to walk and to perform different tasks. But when people who see the person only once in a while don't actually see much of a difference during that first year, it's a good sign. As for my wife, I can see that she fought the disease with great success for 9 years. At the beginning of 2009, she decided she wanted brain surgery to keep a better level of brain activity and to use less medication. The surgery also promised that there would be less uncontrolled movements in her body. All of this proved true, but as if today, it is impossible to slow the disease progress forever. And in 2010, life at home became more difficult, even with the help of people coming in to take care of her during the day while I was working. In 2011, she broke a hip and needed surgery. It became clear that a major decision had to be made since she needed care and attention 24 hours a day. Special equipment would have to be brought in and major renovation performed on the house. Since I could not afford all of this and I could not afford to retire to take care of her on a full-time basis, she had to leave home, and she now lives in a long-term care center a few kilometers from my home. I still see her 4 times a week. I see her every other day after work, and each Saturday evening we have what we call our lover's supper. I bring special food and wine, and we spend a wonderful evening together. I also go with her to every medical appointment. Now, after all those years, what did I learn about the role and the proper way to be a good caregiver? From my point of view, there are some key ingredients. 2 of them will make the biggest difference. The first one is love, and the other one is the ability to adapt successfully to every new stage of the illness. I sincerely believe that the fact that my wife and I knew from the start that we would eventually run out of time brought an incredible intensity to our relationship. You feel that every day and every minute is precious. This love that has grown over the years is still intact today. And even though we are no longer physically together, I still feel as close to her as I did in the beginning. That ingredient is the big reason we can go through more taxing times together. To some extent, you can see a new stage of the illness coming, but in fact, it only hits you when it's actually there. You can mourn the fact that you can no longer do this and that you used to do together. But the key here is to replace it with something more in line with the more limited patient's capacity. As a caregiver, you also have to give every bit of support you can to help your spouse into going this new stage. For those of you who feel that it is very difficult to accept the fact that you have Parkinson's disease, I can tell you that my wife has made it clear that she never really accepted it. As she says, she has learned to live with it. Other key ingredients to nurture include a sense of humor. I can see that all of hers is still intact, as well as the capacity for caregivers to go through difficult phases with the patient. In my view, you should also resist the temptation to try to foresee the future. In the first years of the illness, I used to ask Dr. Bissonette how things would be in a year from that moment. He always said, "I don't know." And eventually, I understood that the only way to deal efficiently with this situation is to live on a daily basis. Another key point is to go to all medical appointments with the patient. This is the best way to get a better understanding of the illness and the types of medical treatment that can be envisioned. Your judgment will be important and will help the patient make the best decision. This is also a good way to give the doctor additional information and to get to know him better. Finally, when you feel overwhelmed by the situation, make sure you always remember that there is a person sitting next to you who actually has to live with the disease at all times. Even though in the case of my wife, Parkinson's disease has been there for many years and has taken its toll, I can sincerely say that the short emails she sends me on a daily basis, the funny emails she gets from a retired friend, and the books that we read together are all a source of pure joy and laughter. This is especially true for the book reading, since we discover the same story together at the same time. As a caregiver, I need to make sure that I can give her as much support as I can and that I can bring smiles to her face every time I see her. Of course, all of this is easier said than done, but still, in my opinion, it is the only way. For neurological diseases, there will eventually be a cure. In the meantime, I can modestly say that caregivers are among the few and the privileged ones who can actually make a difference in the patient's life and help them deal with this very difficult situation. Thank you very much.